Now that we've got our protocol working properly, we need to set up our create account viewcontroller.m file so that when I press the create account button, I can persist the information in my text fields to my NSUserDefaults. So let's go ahead and get started on that. The first thing I'm going to want to do, and we're actually going to do this in my header file, so I'm going to be able to use these defines in any other class I import to. So we're going to write define, and let's write username, and let's call this username. And let's make another define for our password. We can say user password, and we'll say password. So great, now we have two defines which we're going to be able to use as the keys for setting our NSUserDefaults. So let's go into cc create account viewcontroller.m, and when we press our create account button, that's when we're going to want to persist our information to NSUserDefaults. So let's go ahead and say NSUserDefaults. We need double left bracket here, so NSUserDefaults, and we're going to say standard user defaults, and we're going to say set object, and we're going to what object are we going to set here? Well, we're going to set our username. So we're going to say self.username textfield.text, and then we're going to set it for key, and we're going to use our define here, so we're going to say user underscore name. So let's also set up our password. So let's do double F bracket, and we're going to say NSUserDefaults, standard user defaults, and we're going to say set object, and we're going to say self.password textfield.text, and let's set it for key, and let's say user underscore password. Well, what is the final step? Well, we need to synchronize our NSUserDefaults. So let's say NSUserDefaults, standard user defaults, and we can say synchronize. So great, now we're persisting information when we press our create account button. But we also want to check before we do this step that the user has in fact entered the correct information in. So now we need to confirm that the user's information that they enter in the username text field has actually been added, right? So we're going to actually use the property length on our property text in order to confirm that the user has in fact entered information into this text field. We're going to do the same thing with the password text field, and finally we're going to confirm that the information in the password text field is equal to the string in our confirm password text field. So let's write an if statement, and we can write if self.username textfield.text.length does not equal 0, and we can use a double ampersand to add another comparison here. We're going to say self.password textfield.text.length does not equal 0, and finally we're going to go ahead and we're going to say self.password textfield.text is equal to string, and we'll say self.confirm password textfield.text. So we're going to confirm that the two text fields have the same text. And let's go ahead and add our curly braces in here. And actually I can even put this right after the if statement. And one really cool thing we can do to redo all of our indentation here is holding down the command key, press A, which will highlight everything. And then we can press the control key and holding that down press I, and we see that it'll re-indent everything nicely here. So let's add an else statement below this, and if the user doesn't enter the same information in, or they haven't entered some information into the text field for the username or password, we're going to have to tell them that. So let's add an alert view here. We're going to say UI alert view is equal to UI alert view alloc init with title, and let's give it the title error. And we're going to use the message information not entered correctly. And our delegate, we're just going to use nil for now. And our lowercase n. And our cancel button, we'll just simply say OK. And we're not going to have any other buttons, so we can remove that. And we'll add a semicolon at the end. Finally, we need to show our alert view. And now we can go ahead and run our application here. And if in fact, so let's just go to our create account here. So let's try first forgetting to enter a username, but let's enter the same password here. So we can press create account. We see that we get an error here. So let's try this with the username. So username, and let's say our password is this, but the person mistypes it in the second time. So let's try that. We get an error as well. But if we do both the same way, we see that in fact it cancels the view, which means that our delegate has fired and we've been able to properly add an account for our user.